Bruins. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tim Cole, along with Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble, and we're here at Darling Stadium on a beautiful afternoon for the season finale for both of these teams as far as their regular season is concerned. Bob, it looks like we got a real good game in spite of the fact the records are somewhat lopsided.
We really do. Every time these two teams get together, Tim, it's a tremendous ball game. As you said, this is beautiful weather. We got a breeze going from our right to left. We're having a Star Spangled Banner here, so let's pause for a second. Okay, Tim, that was good. That was the Hampton High School band playing the Star Spangled Banner. As I was saying, both of these teams come in here with very lopsided records. Hampton is undefeated. Bethel has lost some games. And Hampton is going on to the playoffs. They will play Kempsville a week from next Friday night. Bethel, this is their last game, but Coach Kozlowski would like nothing better than to beat this Hampton Crabbers. He likes to win, but I think he likes to beat Hampton better than he does anybody. But this is going to be a great game, Tim. It really is.
This game is traditionally the game of the year for both of these teams, in spite of the records. As you mentioned, Bob, Hampton Crabbers 9-0 are going to the playoffs, and the playoffs will start for Hampton on the 20th of November, and that game will pit the Hampton Crabbers at Todd Stadium versus Kempsville, who is 7-3 on the season. And on that same evening, the Kickintan Warriors, who we have to take a moment to congratulate.
Absolutely.
They have come into the playoffs with a 7-2 record. They will be against the Maury 8-1 Maury Commodores. And that game will also take place on Friday the 20th of November at Norview Field. Both of those games start at 8 p.m. And then Saturday night, the 21st of November, the Phantoms of Phoebus. So the Crabbers, the Warriors, and the Phoebus Phantoms all in the playoffs. And the Phoebus Phantoms will play against Woodrow Wilson with a 9-1 record Saturday the 21st at Western Branch High School.
Very fortunate, Tim, in having the three teams represent the Peninsula District in the playoffs, and we need to congratulate not only the teams but also the coaching staffs. Especially I want to thank and congratulate Coach D and his fine group over there at Phoebus High School on a tremendous record, and of course Kirk Newsom on his very first year at Kickintan making the playoffs by virtue of Woodrow Wilson winning last night, put them in the playoffs. But it looks like we're getting ready to have the captains going out to the center of the field, Tim.
All right, Bob, let's see if we can, at this point in time, have the lineups for both Hampton and Bethel. If we can get our crew downstairs to put those on the screen for us, we will run through the starting offensive and defensive lineups for both Hampton and Bethel. Crabbers 9-0 on the season, Bethel 4-5. The Crabbers have actually won 15 games in a row coming into this game. And Bethel, unfortunately for them, they're on a 2-game tailspin as they were defeated 7-6 in a hard-fought loss to the Denby Patriots last weekend. And then previously to that, they had been defeated 42-21 at the hands of the Phantoms, a game that you and I had the pleasure of being here to do. Crabbers are represented at the center of the field by number 32, that's Andre Davis, and number 60, Weymouth Williams, the co-captains. And who are the co-captains for Bethel, Bob?
Well, I'm trying to pick up the numbers out there, Tim, and I can't see the numbers of the team. It looks like number 30 is Michael Dula, and it looks like 88 out there who would be Todd Kelly, representing the Bethel Bruins. And also out there in the center field, of course, are the officials. And today we have referee Dave Boney, umpire Jim Williams, the head linesman is Sonny Short, the line judge is Chuck Boney, the back judge is Tim Collier, and the clock operator today is Tom Kesey. And that's a fine crew that we have out here for this traditional Bethel-Hampton playoff. Actually, it's not a playoff, it seems like a playoff. We've got the red and white on one side and green and gold on the other side, Tim.
The Crabbers will receive the ball. They'll be going from our left to our right, and they'll, of course, be in the solid red uniforms with the white numerals. And the Crabbers will be facing, of course, the green and gold of Bethel High School. Dennis Kozlowski, the head coach, and Mike Smith, of course, the head coach for the Hampton Crabbers. We'll get into those lineups as quickly as we can for you. Both teams are getting on the field right now. The Crabbers will have the ball to start the game. And they come into the game, as I mentioned, 15 games in a row. The last time they lost at the hands of Kecoughtan last season during the middle part of the season. And the Crabbers are, in fact, ranked 1 in the state and number 13 in the country. And another Virginia school eked into the top 25, according to USA Today. T.C. Williams, a former foe of the Crabbers in past years, is now ranked 23rd in the country. So it's quite a feat to have 2 Virginia teams in the top 25 high school teams within the season.
Number 44, Mike Stefanko.
About that is Hampton, when they played T.C. Williams, has already been in the state finals.
All right, we're just about set to go. Bethel Bruins will be kicking off. Troy Fullwood will be the kicker. Crabbers will have back deep Mike Stefanko, the leading rusher in the district. He'll be standing back inside of his 10. Fullwood has it up, and it's underway. Taken by one of the up men at the 12-yard line. Ball is loose, and it's going to be recovered by the Bruins. McLean has the ball returned to the 26-yard line, only to fumble it, and the Bethel Bruins are in possession of the football. So a big break for the Bruins. The Bruins come into this game, they have that cliche going for them. They have nothing to lose here, everything to gain. This is the last game of the season for them, and they come out in the backfield. 88, Todd Kelly, he's the ball carrier on the handoff.
Number 88, Todd Kelly, the ball carrier.
Kelly, the ball carrier, brings it down to the Hampton 22-yard line.
Pickup of about 4 yards on the play, brings up second down for the
So a 4-yard gain for Kelly. Second down and 6 for the Bethel Bruins. Quarterback is Kent Johnson, number 1. Johnson coming into this game, over 1,000 yards on the season. Handoff goes on the right side to William Allen. Billy Allen carries down across the 20.
Number 43, Billy Allen, the Bruin ball carrier. James Wilson making the initial hit for the Crabbers. Pickup on the play brings up third down for the Bruins, about 2 for a first down.
But he ended up playing in the second half of that game. This is a tremendous chance for Bethel High School to get on the scoreboard early and breaks it on the Hampton Crabbers.
Third down, a little more than a yard. They've got the first down. Is inside the 15. down close to the 13-yard line, and the Bruins will have a first down. So the Crabbers, who have only allowed a total of 19 points on the entire season, are now being threatened by the Bethel Bruins. The Crabbers have allowed but 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns, and 1 extra point on the season.
This is where the defense gets real tough for the Hampton Crabbers. They don't like to let anybody in the end zone, Tim. So we look for the defense to really get tough. Bethel looks like they're going to try to keep the ball on the ground.
Billy Allen tries the right side. He gets down to about the 11, a pickup of maybe 2.
Making the stop for Hampton. Timeout, officials.
The one thing I noticed last week, Tim, when the Bruins played,
the pickup of 1 yard on the play brings up a second down for the Bruins. 9 yards to go for a first down.
Johnson is not a real good running quarterback. He's a pretty good throwing quarterback. So I don't know if you want to put them stay on the ground. They'll try to put that ball in the air. They want to get in the end zone.
William Perkins lines up to the near side, wide. Middle of the line again. That's a tough way to go against the Crabbers.
36,
Corey Hodge, the ball carrier for the Bruins.
Jones making the stop for the
Is it my
Crabbers.
imagination, or is the PA announcer extremely loud?
Oh, I don't know. I think he's just extra loud today. But that's normally Hampton has Bobby Croft announcing, but Bobby's out of town. We got Buddy Denton out of Kickertown High School. The baseball coach over there is announcing. He announces the Kickertown ball games, and he's announcing this game today.
Third down for Bethel. Inside the 10, about the 8. Johnson keeps on the roll.
This puts them in a position, Tim, where they're going to have to rely on the foot of Troy Fullwood. Number 44 is going to come in and attempt a field goal. Last week against Denby, he attempted about 4 or 5 of them. I'm not exactly sure how many attempted, but only made 2, and they end up losing that game 6-7. So he's looks like he's going to be kicking that thing from about the 15, so that makes it a 25-yard, but he's got a little bit of an angle. So let's see what happens on this.
Fullwood got 20 points at Bethel and they were the board last week. And this one is long enough, and
It is good. No, the official, you couldn't see the official behind the pole, Tim. He did put his hands up.
all right, so that on a 25-yard field goal by Fullwood. So Fullwood has the last 9 points that Bethel's been able to put on the
TV station WHCS will show a delayed broadcast of this game on Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m.
You don't have him either.
Yeah, I know who he is. It's Terry Thomas,
Terry Thomas, okay.
I believe.
Now a timeout by the Warwick Raiders.
Number 44, Troy Fullwood to kick for the Bruins.
The Bruins have not had great success against the Crabbers recently. They have lost 7 of the last 8 games in which they played, but they did win in 1984. In the fact, in that particular season, Bethel and Hampton played twice. They played a non-conference game, I should say, and Bethel won that game, and then lost in the game's season's finale, 31-0.
Which was the one that counted. And this time we're going to see Stefanko end up with the ball.
Stefanko will start from his 5, out to the 20. The 25 has a hole and is finally taken down across the 32. So the Crabbers do not fumble the ball this time. As Stefanko, as I mentioned before, the leading rusher in the district, comes out and gets some good field position at the 32-yard line.
But I tell you one thing, Tim, I know the Hampton Crabbers has got their work cut out for them now, because you let a team get a turnover on the first play of the game and go down and get some points on the board, that's going to fire your defense up. But Hampton's got a real strong offense, and they'll control that ball if they can.
We've got movement and we've got flags all over the field. As Eric Hunter, the quarterback for the Crabbers, who's had good success the last couple of games, he's completed 15 out of 25 of his last 25 passes, and he had 137 yards against Warwick. I might mention that Hampton, of course, was victorious last week over the Raiders of Warwick, 45-0. And the bulk of those points came in the third quarter after the Crabbers led by a very minimal amount at halftime, quoted from the paper, and I want to thank the Daily Press for a lot of the information that we'll be using this afternoon. But one of the quotes from the paper was one of the players said that they went in and had a pep talk at halftime with Mike Smith. I bet Mike Smith had a pep talk with him. Mix up in the backfield. Hunter will have to eat it. And it's going to be a loss of yardage for the Crabbers. They had been penalized 5 yards, and now they are thrown for a loss back inside the 25. They mark it at the 24-yard line.
They just don't look like they're in sync for some reason. It was a mix-up in the backfield that time. The time before, a lineman jumped offside. I don't know what's happening with them. I know they're going to settle down. Coach Smith will give them another pep talk during halftime. But when they came out in the Warrior game, they scored 4 touchdowns, about 6.5, 7 minutes.
The Bruins trying to anticipate the call will apparently, and I use that word apparently because there hasn't been an indication.
Yeah, he was off.
Whether he was pulled or not is the question, but in fact he was not pulled offside. One of the Bethel Bruins, the middle linebacker, looked like
that's Lonnie Jones, 55.
Was in the backfield long before the ball ever was snapped, so they'll get the 5 yards back, the Crabbers will, that they were penalized to start this drive. So we're back to second down now and 13. The 3 yards, of course, being the loss on that mix-up in the backfield moments ago. So Eric Hunter will bring them out. He's got Stefanko and Summers in the backfield. And again, the Bethel Bruins anticipating the call, do a fine job this time of stopping Stefanko as the gamble on the part of Kevin Cotman, number 20, paid off. He actually blitzed up the middle and caught Stefanko just as he got the handoff.
Well, Tim, that's what they did last week against Denby. They controlled that whole ball game against Denby. Played at Denby's end of the field the whole night, but they ended up losing on a long 98-yard pass scoring play that Denby did. But Cotman and Lonnie Jones did a lot of stunning and jumping in the backfield to stopping the Patriots, and that's what they look like they're trying to do with the Hampton Crabbers.
Stefanko will not get anywhere close to a first down as he will have a few. In on the stop, the last man up off the ground for the Bethel Bruins.
Well, that's got to be a kicking situation, Tim, at this point.
Nick Washington, number 71, in on the stop for the Bethel Bruins. So you're absolutely right, Bob. We're looking at 4th down and 9. So Mike Husted will be back in deep punt formation. He comes into the game as one of the leaders, but this kick will not help as far as his average is concerned. He gets a little bit of a Hampton roll, but it goes out of bounds right about the 40-yard line. So the line of scrimmage was the 32. We got 18 yards to midfield and then 8 more, about 26 yards for Mike Husted. And he comes into the game averaging 35 yards a kick. He's 3rd in the district, and he just looked like he might have shanked that one off the side of the foot.
He just didn't hit it good. And what wind is blowing, Tim, would be at his back. I'm sorry, that was blowing basically in his face that time. That's very unusual for us to have wind going from our right to the left, but he just didn't hit it good, and that happens.
All right, the Bruins now leading 3-0, take over at their 40-yard line. And nothing happening as quickly into the backfield for the Crabbers. Hodge was the carrier, but Weymouth Williams, number 60 for the Crabbers, met him in the backfield and threw him for about a half-yard loss.
Yeah, Weymouth is one of the co-captains for the Hampton Crabbers, and he's the kind of young man that you like because he'll get out there and make something happen on defense. He's a very aggressive ball player, but he plays very smart.
He's got an official's timeout. 5:32 remains in the first quarter. Bethel on top, 3-0 on the strength of a 25-yard field goal by Troy Fullwood of the Bethel Bruins. That coming after a fumble on the initial kickoff. Johnson, again, handoff in the backfield. Goes to Corey Hodge, number 36.
Hodge will get the ball for the most part, Tim, but people who have watched Bethel play all year, this is a new look for Bethel. They have 2 wide receivers. They got a flanker and a split end, and normally they have two tight ends and a flanker, but you notice today it's almost like a pro set. It's an I-pro set with a flanker and a split end.
3rd down and a little more than 7 for the first down for Bethel. Mix up in the backfield again. Kent Johnson will have to eat the football. He is roughly treated by a couple of the Crabbers. As the Crabbers come into this game, they want to win this game, obviously, as any team would want to, but they don't have to win this game, which is unusual for this game, because normally in this final game of the season, one or the other of these teams has to win to go on to a playoff.
That's usually the case, but I don't know if that's why Hampton is a little bit off today. I know one day last week they did not have a real good practice, but that happens sometimes in high school. The team just gets a little complacent. But I tell you what, the coaches are going to get on them.
Todd Kelly, the left-footed kicker, kicks this one out of bounds.
Way out of bounds. Bad kick.
Very short.
Way short. Look at that. Just almost back to the first down marker, Tim.
Well, in fact, it was a 12-yard kick. Line of scrimmage was the 39, and it goes out of bounds at the Hampton 48-yard line. So about a 13-yard net on the kick. So both of these kickers having a rough afternoon so far. And the reason I say that is because Kelly is number 2 in the district, averaging over 35 yards a kick as well. So he and Houston, his counterpart, have had no success on the kicking game, but I'm sure as the afternoon progresses, they will get back into form. The Crabbers now have a man jump offside, and that'll cost them 5. It looks like the Crabbers, you said, Bob, I think you're right. The Crabbers just seem to be a little out of sync to start this ball game.
And I don't know. And you don't know why it is, but it's if one person does it, it seems like the other people, just like a disease, they start catching this. You're jumping off, you get a little anxious, you want to make something happen, you leave a count early, or it's lack of concentration is what it does, and this just drives the coaches crazy, because those are the type of things that you don't want to happen, is a lack of concentration, and now you got a 1st and 15 instead of 1st and 10, Tim.
All right, so the Crabbers now, again, they'll have coming to the near side. Wide receiver is Anthony Hyman. The handoff goes in the backfield, and this is Todd Summers getting good yardage across midfield as he gets down into Bethel territory. They'll mark the ball at the 47 of Bethel.
Well, that's one thing about Hampton. They've got some good running backs. Stefanko is a good run. Murphy runs real good in Summers. So 42, 43, and 44, if they can run those young men in there, and all about the same side, and all good runners. So they don't have to depend on one runner, although Stefanko is the leading ground gainer in the district. The others two are very capable ball runners, too.
That was Murphy carrying the ball. I said Summers. In fact, it was Murphy. This is Stefanko who gets to the 45. He'll be credited with a little more than 2. Stefanko is the leading rusher in the district, having carried the ball 188 times, averaging a little more than 20 carries per ball game, and he averages 5.6 yards per ball game per carry. And he has over 1,000 yards. The only player other than Phoebus's David Brown, who going into last night's game, let me get to that in just a minute. Hunter, 3rd down and 3 for the Crabbers. And again, movement, we see no flags, however. I think everybody was kind of standing around waiting for a flag to fly.
Well, I think the officials were messed up that time. There was definitely movement before the ball was snapped, but I don't know who it was on, but nobody, evidently the officials didn't see it. What can I say?
It looked like there was all kinds of movement before the ball was snapped, but no flag was forthcoming, and it was a loss of yardage for the Crabbers. So kind of a weird play there, and now Houston will be on to try
the there's the kick, Tim.
He
turned that one over.
Gets that one back inside the 15, and that's Anthony Boogie Wooden returning the ball, and he gets out to the 20, where the Bruins will pick up from there. And if I could just finish my thought, David Brown, by the way, our congratulations to the Phoebus Phantoms and Kingatan, as we mentioned earlier. Phantoms, of course, in the playoffs, and they did so convincingly last night with a 31-7 victory over Cox. David Brown had 190 yards on 22 carries, so that puts him over 1,190 yards on the season for the regular season, so he'll end up with over 1,000. Stefanko ahead of him coming into this game unofficially with 1,039 yards.
Bethel is staying on the ground, which is really surprising. You think if they put out the 2 wide receivers like they did, they'd be putting the ball in the air, but they have yet to put the ball in the air.
Billy Allen, the ball carrier, gets about 4 yards.
Bethel has got a first down, but Hampton has yet to have a first down in this game so far, Tim, and that's very unusual for the Crabbers because they're a ball control offensive team out there.
Fumble.
Corey
Hodge again, the ball carrier for the Bethel Bruins. The fumble apparently recovered by Hodge. A couple of crabbers. Now we see a flag fly. Somebody said the magic word, and the official now is going to have an unsportsmanlike conduct call against the crabbers.
Oh, boy, you hate that. Oh, coach, you're going to go crazy on that. What? You know, you had stopped them. It was 3rd and 5, so you had a chance of making a punt. Now you give them a 15-yard penalty, which will be a first down.
15-yard penalty.
Oh.
Against Hampton.
So somebody said something to somebody, and it's going to cost the crabbers 15 and a first down.
I know Coach Kozlowski's over there saying, I don't know what's happening out there, but I like the calls today.
Coach Kozlowski, who I've had more than one occasion to chat with, would like to win this ball game probably more than anything else in the world. So he'll have his boys fired up for the rest of the afternoon. We're a little more than a minute to go. We're looking at a halfback option pass. Kelly completes the pass across midfield. And that one caught the Crabbers by surprise. First down for the Bethel Bruins.
Well, that was something that Kozlowski showed a couple, 3 weeks ago with Todd Kelly, was a left-hander who could run to the left and throw the ball. And, of course, the receiver he's trying to get the ball to was Anthony Wooden, who they call Boogie Wooden because he can really scoot once he gets the ball, Tim.
So we're inside of a minute to go in the first quarter. The Bruins have the ball in Crabber territory. 1st and 10 at the 47 of Hampton. Kelly, the lone running back, he gets the pitch back. The big fullback crosses the 45 down to about the 42-yard line. Now, he has a couple of words with one of the Crabbers. And another flag comes down. So apparently both teams are getting a little bit, well, it's...
And I was against the Bethel. I think, I don't know if that's a makeup or not, but number 2 from
Kenny
the Hampton team, Kenneth Owens, and Todd Kelly had some words, and Owens turned around and walked away, and Kelly evidently said something, and official didn't like it. Evidently that's what happened earlier, Tim.
So feelings are not particularly friendly between these two teams, never are for that matter, although a lot of these kids grow up with each other in neighboring neighborhoods.
Oh, they know each other, Tim, very well. And there's no love lost between the ball players when they get out there and start playing, or the coaches as rather. I mean, I'm sure they respect each other, but they don't love each other.
So this one is marked off against the Bruins now, and they've marked the ball at the 43-yard line of Bethel. So the clock has restarted, a little more than 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. 12-minute quarters in high school. Kent Johnson, straight handoff, right side. Struggling for some tough yards is Billy Allen, number 43. And we may have seen the last play of the first quarter. We've got our ace roving reporter, A.G. Womble, down on the sidelines here. And we hope between quarters and a halftime to have A.G. on with some interviews.
I see he's got somebody down there. If he get his headset on and get all he's all wrapped up in his stuff down there.
All right, so the first quarter has come to a conclusion, and the Bethel Bruins, on the strength of a 25-yard field goal by Troy Fullwood, lead 3-0. So we're going to go down to the sidelines now, and A.G. Womble.
Okay, we are with Lowell Thomas now. Principal Ham High, you're down 3-0 here in the first quarter. Lowell, what's it going to take to pull this game out?
Well, AG, it's a slow start for us, but we're a patient team. We're a strong team. I'm confident that before the day's over, you'll see some more offense out of the Crabbers, and they'll be on top when
It's been a second-half ball club a lot this year.
Yes, we have, and the main thing is stay with the game and move along, and in the end, it's always worked out.
Okay, Lowell, we got the playoffs starting next week. Home team and has to be an advantage.
We're really proud of the fact that for the 11th year in a row, we get to represent the Peninsula District and go into regional playoff competition. Looking forward to the game against Kempsville. Looking forward to being able to play at a Todd Field on home ground. We think we'll be able to do okay.
Lowell, how's it feel to be principal of a state champion?
Oh my goodness, it's hard to describe. Last year, my first year as principal, and to have a state championship team, it's just all that you could ever hope for in one time.
Okay. Great job over there, Lowell.
Okay.
All right, Tim and Bob, now back up to you.
That was good, AG.
All right, AG, thank you, sir. Corey Hodge gets the initial call of the second quarter. And just to make a minor correction to what AG mentioned, the playoffs, in fact, do not start this coming weekend. They start on the 20th, which is a week from this Friday. And the opponent, in fact, will be Kempsville, a team that Hampton has played previously. The Bruins now looking at a 4th down and long will have Kelly kicking it to Stefanko. It's going to take a bounce at the 30, check that, 25 of Hampton. It's hit by one of the Bethel players. So Stefanko won't have a chance to return this ball. They'll start the Crabbers from their 25-yard line, 1st and 10.
Well, I know they're out to they want to get that initial first down and get something going here.
The Crabbers had over 300 yards total offense against Warwick last week. And as you said, though, they did a lot of that in the second half. They had kind of a slow start, but they came on strong and did so when they had to.
Well, I think the key is basically what Lowell Thomas was saying. They got to stay with their game plan and just play. Just because you're down by 3 points, you don't change anything.
This is Stefanko. He's the man that the Crabbers use most often. And Stefanko picks up 5 out to the 30.
I was real surprised in our last series when Bethel had 2nd and long and 3rd and long, and they didn't even try to pass the ball, Tim. That was very uncharacteristic of what I have seen Bethel do this season so far. Is when they have a long, they will pass the ball, but evidently they respect the Hampton pass defense.
Grady McLean checks in for the Crabbers. Coming into the game, McLean has 15 catches on the season for a little more than 280 yards. Stefanko gets the call, and the Bethel Bruins swarm over Stefanko as he gets back to the line of scrimmage and actually ends up a yard shy of the line of scrimmage, so he'll lose a yard on the play. And the Crabbers, still having trouble getting untracked, will face 3rd down and 6 for the 1st down. There you see the score, 3-0. If you just joined us, this is Tim Cole with Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble at Darling Stadium, the final regular season game for the Hampton Crabbers and the Bethel Bruins. And so far it's been a hard-fought defensive battle. Both teams not having much success getting the offense untracked. 3rd down and 6. Hunter straight back, wants to pass, looks downfield, has a man off his fingers and
almost intercepted by Boogie Wooden.
Pair of 22s, Grady McLean. I just alluded to the fact that he came into the lineup.
He's got good hands, Tim. He normally catches that ball.
He's been a big ball player for the Crabbers this season. He is Stefanko. McLean came on real strong in the middle and latter part of the season. Now we'll see Mike Houston. He'll be kicking with a little bit of a breeze this time. And he'll turn this one over. Gets a good high spiraling kick inside the 30. Takes a great Hampton roll, and it goes out of bounds inside the 20 at about the 18-yard line. So Houston, who had the ball off the side of his foot in the first quarter, hits all of this one and gets about a 60-yarder.
Oh, I tell you what, I know Coach Kai's over there going crazy. The Boogie didn't try to catch that ball, but that happens. Tim, you was talking about this being the last regular season game, but it's also the last game that's going to be played here at Darling Stadium the way it's set up today. We have, they're going to do renovations, everything next year. It looks like we might be playing the football games at War Memorial Stadium. So this is the last time it's going to be set up this way. And so this is kind of nostalgic because it's going to be changed. In 2 years, we'll be back here, but it'll be a different field.
Ken Johnson wants to pass, looks over the middle. It's picked off. That's McLean, Grady McLean. He's still on his feet. He's dragged down, but not before he gets down to the 13-yard line.
Well, he ran right over the top of number 11, William Perkins, and he's slow getting up, but that was tremendous, Tim. Just an excellent run back after the catch, but now we got a turnover about like what happened to Bethel for Hampton at the same end zone.
So Grady McLean, who couldn't handle the pass from his own quarterback the play before, does just fine catching the pass from Kent Johnson and brings it down to the 13 of Bethel, 1st and 10. The Crabbers trailing by the score of 3-0. We have 9:15 to go here in the first half. Hunter is the quarterback. Hunter gives to Stefanko. Stefanko tries the left side, gets maybe a yard. Hunter was hurt in the gym class a couple of weeks ago and went into the Warwick game with a sore finger on his throwing hand, but you wouldn't have known it because he did have a good afternoon against them, 137 yards passing.
Yeah, he did that. If we get a chance, Tim, the camera's going to zoom in on the end zones. The end zones are really kind of fancy here for the last regular game here. A young man by the name of John Johnson is responsible for putting the diamonds in the end zone, and you'll see it throughout the ball game. And he did it on his own, Tim. He didn't get paid for it, just came down here to make this a little more special this last game here.
No gain on the play for Stefanko. Stefanko is not going to get the handoff, and Eric Hunter is going to be swarmed over by 2 or 3 Bethel Bruins, not the least of which is Lonnie Jones, number 55, along with Troy Fullwood, number 44. And the Bruin defense comes up big now. The Crabbers are backed up to the 19-yard line. So the Crabbers need to get down to the 3 for a first down, and of course, they've got to go about 16 yards now. 3rd down and 16 for the Crabbers.
Well, I don't know if that's going to take them out of field goal range enough. They got one more play to pick up some yardage, but that was a slow development play for the Hampton Crabbers.
Hunter sees some running room. He's racing for the sidelines. He'll be well short of the first down. And again, a few words exchanged between the Crabbers and the Bruins.
That was very close to being hit after he got out of bounds, but we will have a field goal attempt here. It looks like AG is going to be doing something at halftime for us, Tim, so he's got something lined up at halftime.
I think he's going to be talking with Billy D.
Yeah, he's the Phoebus coach.
And then also with David Brown, who had over 1,180 yards for the Phantoms. So we'll have some halftime interviews for you. This one is up, and it's long enough, but it's no good. Wide to the left. So Mike Houston, who's had good success kicking the ball this season. In fact, coming into this game, Houston was 3rd in the district in scoring. He has 5 field goals and a total of 36 points. But this one, he pulled to the left. So the Crabbers come up with nothing. Again, very similar situation. The difference being that Fullwood got the field goal, Houston did not.
But also, Tim, another important point we just got from our statistician here, Hampton has yet to get their first down.
Incredible when you figure there's more than 7.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Can we trust the statistician?
Oh, I don't. You know him now.
I know.
I think we can trust him. He looks like he's pretty straight.
Well, that's Rick Gabriel, a friend of mine who's kind enough to come out this afternoon and watch the ball game and keep stats for us. William Allen, number 43 for the Bethel Bruins, picks up about 5, closer to 6 yards. Call it 2nd down and a long 4 for the Bruins. So that's got to, again, kind of boost the offensive team when the defense comes up big like that.
Well, I tell you, Hampton's really run into a tremendous defensive stand here by the Bethel Bruins. They are just playing excellent defensive ball today.
Close to a first down. Corey Hodge, depending on where they'll mark the ball.
It looks like to me, Tim, that offensive line of the Bruins is just kind of pushing back the defense of Hampton. They just seem to be getting off the ball, beating them at the point of contact. And okay, Eli, is that a first down?
Of course it's a first down. The ball on the 30-yard line. I don't know why they bring the chairs out.
I don't know why. Why don't they just call down to Dave Boney and just have him check up here with us to see if that's a first down or not? I don't know why they waste all that time.
Give the team a chance to take a breather. All right, so the Bruins now get the first down. Corey Hodge getting a lot of the signal calls this afternoon. He's been handed the ball on numerous occasions.
Corey Hodge will carry the ball 90% of the time that it is run in the Bethel offense be done by Corey Hodge. And he is just a sophomore, and Bethel's coaching staff are very, very high on that young man. He's been just a workhorse for him all year long.
Pick up of a couple of yards. William Allen is in the backfield along with Corey Hodge. Top of your screen is William Perkins. Handoff goes to Hodge. Tries the left side. Couple of Crabbers there. No go. And Andre Davis does the body slam on Corey Hodge.
They got a reaction from the fans. just a little note to what's going to happen. Halftime, not only is AG going to talk to Billy D, but he's also going to talk to Billy Wren, a former football coach who works with the Hampton system, Wayne Nast, who does the filming, videotape for all of Hampton, and they're going to talk about nostalgic feelings here at the stadium. So that's some other things to look forward to at halftime, Tim.
Coming up in about 5.5 minutes. That's how much time we have left. The Bruins have the ball and a 3-point lead. Trying for the upset. Kent Johnson chased, gets it away, completes it to Boogie Wooden at the 45. He coughs it up. The ball's loose. We'll wait and see who's got the football. They say it is the Hampton Crabbers.
And he had picked up enough yardage for the first down, Tim. He had to cross the 40-yard line, and he had crossed the 40. And that's very unusual for him to turn the ball over.
Anthony Billups, number 8 for the Crabbers, is the man who came out from underneath that pile. And he has the football, and the Crabbers have it back. They've marked it between the 41 and 42 in Bethel territory. So Boogie Wooden got the pass, did what he was supposed to do as far as that was concerned. And then when he was hit, it came loose. And Billups comes up with the second turnover of the afternoon for the Hampton Crabbers. Eric Hunter with a little less than 5 minutes to go in the half. Flags are down. Looks like some Crabbers left a little early. Wait and see exactly what the call is, but it looked like we had some early motion on the part of the Crabbers.
Oh,
that's the
Eagle
call.
Eye Cole got him again.
Left a little early. Crabbers, you know, as we said before, the irony of this thing is, of course, the Crabbers don't have to win today to advance. They're already in the finals, in the playoffs, but they certainly don't want to go in on a loss. And nothing more would please Dennis Kozlowski than to do just that.
I tell you what, with a week off before they go into playoffs, you don't want to end it off on a loss. And I know the Hampton Crabbers want to get something going here because they just can't seem to get anything.
Stefanko fumbles the football. It's loose. And it looks like, well, I'll wait and hold my thoughts on it. It looks like Hampton has it.
Yeah, number 87 came up with the ball, Tim, for the Hampton Crabbers, Corey Cofield. That was, I tell you, that it's not cold, it's not wet, but we're sure having problems holding on to the ball today.
Well, I think part of that problem is the hard hitting that's going on out there. Both of these teams are fired up. The defenses are really sticking the ball carriers, and I think that's what happens most of the time.
Well, what's happening also is the ball carrier is getting hit, and then he's trying to get extra effort, and somebody else hits him and knocks the ball off, and I believe that's what's happening.
They have an official's timeout. 4:04 to go in the half.
Looks like equipment problem there, Tim.
All right, so, of course, the safety of the players is the foremost concern of the officials. And now we're set to go. Clock is restarted inside of 4 minutes. Second down and 8. And nothing happening right here. Todd Summers is tripped up as he gets close to the line of scrimmage. Summers hasn't seen a lot of action this afternoon, but in 9 games on the season, he averages over 50 yards per game, and he ranks 8th in the district as far as that statistic is going. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to see the box score from the game last night between Phoebus and Cox, but David Brown and Stefanko were tied with 72 points each.
David Brown is now the leading rusher in the Peninsula District. He got 180 last night, which gives him 1189 for the year.
Third down and long. Hunter wrapped up, gets away from one, another, but not the second one. Oh, the Bethel Bruin fans are loving this.
Well, I tell you what, I have seen Bethel play quite a few times this year, but their defense is just outstanding today. I've not seen them play with so much intensity. They're getting in the backfield. This Kevin Cotman is plugging up the center, and Hampton is yet to come get their initial first down. They've got 2 turnovers and not even a first down to show for it.
And we're a little less than 3 minutes to go to halftime. Houston gets it away. Got a little breeze behind this ball. Backs up Boogie Wooden. He called for the fair catch, and in retrospect isn't sure he wanted to. But once you put that hand up in the air, of course, if you run with the football, you either are going to be killed by the other team or the official's going to give you a penalty. So either way, you lose. Fair catch by Wooden at the 15. So the Crabbers now, again, a very strange situation for them. Less than 3 minutes to go in the half, and they have yet to register a first down. Last week against Warwick, they had a similar situation. They didn't get on track in the first half, and I'm sure we'll have a different appearance to the Crabbers in the second half as they did last week against Warwick. But, you know, Bethel's playing good defense. Corey Hodge gets the call, picks up almost 7.
And Bethel seems to be able to pick up yardage much easier on Hampton. Of course, and what Hampton is, it's Bethel has not had a long second and long or third long unless they've made a mistake or something. It seems like they're picking up pretty good yardage.
The standings coming into this game have the Crabbers atop 7-0, 9-0 overall. Phoebus is 6-2, tied with Kecoughtan for the district lead. Again, right side carry, Hodge. Denby is 4-4 in third place. Bethel coming into this game 3-4 in the district, tied with Ferguson and Warwick with similar records. Menchville is 2-6, and Lafayette rounds it out at 1-5. So we're down inside of 2 minutes now. Minute 43, the clock moving. The Crabbers trailing 3-0, and Bethel looking at a third down and about 2 for the first. Crabbers would like to have one more chance to touch the football before the half. Kent Johnson, right up the middle. It's going to be close to a first down. Depends on where they mark the football. I would say from here it looks like he's got it by maybe a foot.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Tim. He marked that with his right foot. Had he marked it with his left foot, it would not have been a first down. But it is a first down.
27-yard line, first down, Bethel Bruins.
Well, that'll kind of keep the ball out of Hampton's hands, unless, of course, they try to pass and commit a turnover like they did last time they passed.
Pitch back to Hodge. Hodge is met by Weymouth Williams after about a yard and a half or two. Weymouth Williams has done a superb job on defense. This has been a defensive first half, obviously 3-0. Williams has done an outstanding job, as has Andre Davis for the Crabbers this season.
Yeah. Well, the only reason that Bethel scored is they got that turnover at the 25 right at the opening kickoff of the game and got their first down and got them close enough for their field goal.
This is Hodge, and again, Corey Hodge is met by Weymouth Williams, so it's the Hodge-Williams show right now. Hodge goes to the right, Williams is there. Hodge goes to the left, Williams is there. Williams is all over the field.
Well, we're under 30 seconds to go in the game, and I don't think Bethel's going to put the ball in the air, Tim. It looks like to me that they just feel comfortable enough going in at halftime with a 3-point lead. This may be the last play of the first half.
7 seconds, the clock moving. This is again right up the middle. This time the ball carrier is William Allen, and that's going to be it for the first half. So the Crabbers, reigning state champions, 9-0 on the season, find themselves on the short end of a 3-0 score at halftime, and we'll be back with some halftime activities. I understand we'll have some interviews with A.G. Womble leading the way. Our man from Glad is back. He was down in Texas a week before last.
Oh, he's been all over. He's been all over. We ought to have some a good halftime interviews here. He's got Billy D and David Brown from Phoebus. Billy Wren, Wayne Nash are also going to be interviewed. So AG's got his work cut out for him, Tim.
All right, we'll be back with those interviews right after this brief timeout.
But there's nobody, no contained man on the outside, and he is picking up valuable yardage. He picked up 8 that time.
More and more families are moving closer and closer to our forests. That's why, if you're careless with fire when you go to the forest, you could burn a lot more than trees.
Coach Bill D of Phoebus and David Brown, the running back. And Bill, first of all, congratulations on another great season.
Appreciate it, AJ.
Big game last night. Tell us a little bit about that Cox win.
Well, we played a pretty sound football game. We got off to a little slow start, but our game plan was to give the ball to David as many times as we could, and he did very well for us last night.
All right, David, congratulations on a great game again. I think you had about 190 yards, and right now I think you're leading the district. You have to be pleased at this point.
Oh, yes, I am.
What about the playoffs, David? What's the feeling of Phoebus Phantoms going into the playoffs 2 weeks from now?
Well, we got a very good feeling. We have a few distractions during the end of the season right now, but that's all behind us now. So we're just looking forward to the playoffs.
Was the team up for the college game last night? Evidently they were.
Oh, yeah, but it took a while to get going, though. But we finally got it going.
All right, Coach, what about the playoffs? What's the strategy of the Phantoms?
Well, the strategy is to get ready for Wilson right now. They've got a very good football team, and we got 2 weeks to get ready. We're going to try to get everybody healthy, and we're going to be ready for the first ball game against Wilson.
Comments on the first half of this big Hampton-Bethel game, Coach?
Well, of course, this is a big rivalry, and very much traditions involved, and Bethel's played them very tough, and it's been a good football game.
David, after this season, what are your future plans?
I plan to go to college and probably most likely play college football, just pay for my education.
All right, maybe they'll get you down to East Carolina.
I don't know.
Okay, great season so far. Good luck the rest of the way, both of you guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. We got Wayne Nass, big supporter of the Hampton Crabbers, and Wayne, you've been associated with this team for how long now?
Well, as a photographer for 3 years, and for about 8 years before that as athletic director.
Okay, they're down 3-0, but this has been a second half team quite often here of late.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of solving the blitz that Bethel put on. I think Mike Smith can do that pretty easily.
Okay. Playoffs starting in 2 weeks, Wayne. It's just like routine for the Crabbers, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's routine, but
a lot of hard work though going.
When you get to that level, nothing's routine. You have to really play good ball because you're getting into tough competition.
Okay. What about the second half now? What do you think? What do you think it's going to take to pull it out?
Well, it's going to take some way to solve. Bethel came up with a very good defense in that first half. And as I said, it's up to the coaching staff here to figure out a way to solve it, and I think they'll do it.
Well, Wayne, keep up the good work with Crabbers, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate it. We got some of the victorious Kick-10 Warriors with her here down at halftime, and Butch, tell us a little bit about that big win last night over Lafayette.
Well, the first half, the offensive line, I play offensive center, we didn't play all that well, but Coach come into the locker room at halftime and give us a pep talk and saying how we weren't a second half team, but we come out and we proved ourselves.
Okay. Mark Banks, you've been contributing all year, but last night on that second half, you had to be pleased with the 28 points.
Yeah, because they put me in an offensive tackle, and one of the key blocks came from it was a touchdown.
Okay. Got playoffs in a couple weeks. What's the feeling of the Warriors going in those playoffs?
We feel pretty good.
All right, going to win it?
Yeah, we hope to.
Okay. All right, Dustin Rule, I believe. Dustin, you had to be happy with the big win last night, but I think you had to depend on another win. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when we got on the bus, we all thought that we were out of it, but then we heard that it was tied, and we just listened to the final, till they got that final touchdown, and then we were all excited.
It's kind of tough when you're not participating in a game that's going to determine your destiny.
Yeah, it worked out for us, so we did all right.
Y'all ready for the playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay. Good luck to you. All right, and Sean Starcher, you had to be happy, and tell us a little bit about the thought of the team going into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, we're real excited about it, and we think we'll do real well.
Okay. Offensively in the second half, you had to be pleased with the way things turned out.
Oh yeah, they really went out, and we really just went at them, and
Okay, good job. All right, we got assistant coach here, Revis Conrad, and Revis, tell us about, from the coach's perspective, the feeling of going into the playoffs here. I think it's the first time.
It's the first time in our history Kick-10's gone to a playoff. As far as the coaches are concerned, we were elated. We really were. We were excited. We were jumping up and down. We listened to the last part of the ball game last night. It was just like a storybook ending for us.
Yeah. I think there's no score at halftime, Coach. What'd y'all tell the players in there at halftime?
Well, Coach Horton gave a little pep talk at halftime about we were not a second half ball club, and the kids responded very well, came back out and just ran the ball all over second half.
All right, Revis, this playoff situation, like you said, is the first time in a while. Now, you're also the basketball coach. Is that going to put a little extra pressure on you here for the next few weeks?
I'll be coaching 2 sports at the same time.
I'm assuming you're willing to pay the price.
I'm willing to pay the price.
Okay. Well, great season so far to all you guys, and good luck the rest of the way. Thank you very much for coming down. Thank you. All right, Tim and Bob, we got the Ham Chiliers now, and this young lady, what's your name?
Jada Overton.
All right, Jada, you're down 3-0 now. What's it going to take for the Crabbers to get back in this game?
They're going to have to get themselves together.
All right. All right, Beth, what about the crowd now? You're going to have to get the support of the crowd in the second half.
Yeah, we have to pump them up a little bit more. I guess they're upset about because we're 3. They have 3 on us, but.
Okay. You got any predictions on the final score?
We're going to win, but I don't know what the score is going to be.
Okay.
Hi.
And what's your name?
Stephanie Russell.
All right, Stephanie, the Crabbers aren't fired up so far. Are you girls gonna help them in the second half?
Yeah, we'll just have to get them psyched and spirited, and the crowd's gonna really have to help us.
Okay. All right, and this young lady?
Ingrid Hawkins.
All right, Ingrid, down 3-0, but the Crabbers are kind of a second half ball team, are they not?
Yes, they are. They're gonna come back.
Okay. Any predictions on the score?
I don't know. It's gonna be better than that.
Okay. All right.
Ramona Gray.
All right, Ramona, what's it going to take to win it?
They're gonna have to want to win it. The Bruins are psyched up. We're gonna have to get just as psyched up as they are.
Okay. You gonna get them fired up in the second half?
Yes, we are, definitely.
All right, what's your name?
Samia Wilson.
All right, Crabbers gonna win?
Of course.
Okay. And this young lady?
Kelly Curtis.
All right, you don't think the Crabbers are looking ahead to the playoffs or anything, do you?
Are we looking ahead? Yes, we are definitely.
Okay, but you got to get by this game first.
Yeah, we will win. They will come back the second half with a new attitude, and the score will probably be something like 27-3.
You girls doing a great job out here.
Thank you.
All right, and this young lady?
Keisha Braithwaite.
All right, what's it going to take to win it in the second half?
A lot of spirit from us and the support from the crowd, and I'm just sure the Crabbers are ready to,
You going to help get that crowd fired up in the second half?
Yes, we are. We always try to promote spirit throughout the crowd.
Okay, good luck to you girls.
Thank you.
All right, Tim and Bob, as always, it's a tough job working with these cheerleaders, but somebody's got to do it now. Back up to you.
Tim Cole with Bob Hintz, A.G. Womble back at Darling Stadium. A.G., I appreciate your concern about having to do those really tough interviews there. Here we are in sun-drenched Darling Stadium, the last game to be played in this old stadium. And not next season, but the season after that, they'll have a whole brand new stadium to work from right here.
Yeah, sure will, Tim. We got a chance to talk with Steve Washington just a second as he's running up to the press box, one of the assistant coaches of Hampton, and what they said they're going to have to do is pick up the Bethel linebackers. They're just upsetting the timing in the backfield, and they're going to have to make some adjustments. I don't think I'd want to be in the locker room down there. I'm sure that these young men are very disappointed in their first half performance, talking about the Crabbers. But again, the Bethel Bruins, I know, were really excited, and we're ready to start the second half, Tim.
All right, Mike Houston has it lined up for the Crabbers. The Crabbers will, in fact, kick off to start the second half, trailing 3-0. 25-yard field goal by Troy Fullwood is the only score in this ballgame. Boogie Wooden fielded it at the 8-yard line. He's across the 20, across the 30. And the Bethel Bruins will have good field position to start the second half.
That was Boogie Wooden that had the ball. And he's very exciting when he gets the ball, and they try to move him in the back there on kickoff so that he does handle the kickoff returns for him, because he's very exciting.
All right, this first half was, in fact, a defensive effort. The Crabbers, no first downs. The Bruins with 2 in each quarter for a total of 4 at halftime, as the Bruins get Kent Johnson, the quarterback, over center. Pitch back. This is Corey Hodge, little or nothing. If I can continue with the stats at halftime, the Crabbers have 7 carries for 16 yards in the first quarter, a total of 7 for 16 yards, and then a total of 47 yards at halftime on the ground. Bethel had 22 carries for 64 yards at halftime. No passing yardage for the Crabbers, only 11 passing yards for the Bruins at halftime.
We'll see what kind of adjustments that both coaches have done during halftime. And I know the Hampton Crabbers have had a tremendous defensive play from their team all year long, and they didn't do a bad job in the first half, but when you turn the ball over at the first play down there around the 20, 25-yard line, it's going to be hard to keep a team out of the end zone via the field goal.
So the Crabbers have a total of 47 yards offense in the first half and 75 yards for the Bruins.
Kent Johnson looks, passes, completes the pass, and it is going to be a first down at the 45-yard line.
That was an excellent job in the backfield that time of faking the handoff, got a play-action pass, and he rolled to his right and found the receiver open just across the, right close to the 45-yard line, so that gives them an initial first down at the second half.
Crabbers penalized 4 times for 30 yards in the first half, 2 penalties for 20 yards for the Bruins as they start 1st and 10, and a pickup of about 3 yards. Billy Allen gets the 3. Now the Crabbers had 6 possessions in the first half. 4 of those ended in punts. 1 was in a fumble, and the other was a field goal attempt by Mike Houston that was no good, wide to the left. And the Bethel Bruins had 6 possessions as well. They had 3 turnovers. They had 2 fumbles and 1 pass interception, and they had 2 punts. And the last time they had the ball, or rather not the last time, but the first time they had the ball, they got the field goal, and the only points in the ball game so far. Corey Hodge, the ball carrier for the Bruins. The Crabber defense has been tough all year. It's been tough all game long. The only difference tonight or this afternoon is the fact that Crabbers can't get the offense going yet.
They sure can get there, and I know that they're anxious to get their hands on the ball and put the Bruins on defense. They're going to have to stop on these 3rd downs.
3rd down and 3, and they stop Billy Allen. Allen, as he tried the middle of the Hampton defensive line, was met by none other than Sherwood Jones, number 70. Sherwood Jones, a stalwart for the Hampton defense for the last couple of years, and he and Weymouth Williams are the 2 main reasons the Hampton defense is as good as it is. Stefanko will be standing back at his 10-yard line. Todd Kelly will be standing at his 40. The left-footed kicker gets it away, kicks it away from Stefanko, takes a Bethel bounce, and it rolls out of bounds at the 20, just at the 16-yard line of the Hampton Crabbers. So a good kick as Todd Kelly kind of angled it for the sidelines, got a little bit of a roll, and the Crabbers will be backed up at their 16.
Yeah, well, that's what you want to do, is you want to avoid the run back if you can, and he did a good job of kicking it out of bounds, and you kick that thing out of bounds with inside the 20, you put the pressure on Hampton because they have yet to prove that they can move the ball against the Bruins this afternoon. But I know Mike Smith and his coaching staff made some offensive adjustments, and let's see what happens, Tim.
Murphy and Stefanko. Murphy sets up as a slot back. This is Stefanko, right side, and the Bethel Bruin defense is right there waiting for him. Led by number 55 for the Bruins, that's Lonnie Jones. Over there as well, number 30 for the Bruins, Mike Dula, who was out injured a couple of games. And also Troy Fullwood, who not only kicks the field goals and extra points, but plays defense as well. Play coming in from the sidelines for the Crabbers as McLean Grady will check in, and he'll replace the flanker, Antonio Hyman, for the Crabbers. So the Crabbers, first play in the second half, they lose a half yard. Hunter, looks like might have been a mix-up in the backfield. He'll have to eat the ball. He goes out of bounds, and he loses another yard. So the Crabber offense, as you see Hunter, the much taller of the two, having a word or two with Stefanko. It seemed like maybe Stefanko was the man who was supposed to get the handoff, and he wasn't there.
And I know this is just driving the Hampton coaches crazy because they have all year been a very efficient offensive machine as far as controlling the ball and getting the ball in long drives, eating up the clock and getting in the end zone. But they just can't seem to get on track today for some reason.
Stefanko comes out of the ball game. Todd Summers, number 42, checks in. So it's Summers in the backfield, and that's him with the football. And he gets back basically to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down and 10 for the Crabbers.
Well, Mike Houston's getting a tremendous workout today, and he doesn't usually have to punt the ball that much. He does a lot of extra points and kicking off. That's where his expertise has been used this year so far. But this afternoon, he has been punting, and I don't know how many times he's punted, but this has got to be 4 or 5.
He'll be kicking into a slight breeze, gets a good kick away. The wind does, in fact, hold it up, and Anthony Boogie Wooden will have a chance to return, but he loses his footing as he crosses the 45 of Hampton. But nonetheless, the Bethel Bruins will have great field position at the Hampton 44, and we have 7:17 to go in the third quarter, and the Crabbers still haven't registered a first down in the ball game.
Very, very unusual. I don't quite understand what's happening with their offense, but again,
I think the Bethel defense is what's happening to their offense.
You're right. I don't want to take anything away from the Bethel defense. They're doing a good job, but from the onset, they have not looked like they were. The timing was down. They were just out of sync. All afternoon, they've been that way.
From the Hampton 44, Kent Johnson wants to pass, throws. It's going to be a little long. Boogie Wooden, as fast as he is, couldn't quite get underneath that. I know you've coached basketball, Bob, on several occasions for the Bethel Bruins and in other capacities. As a coach, do you find, as you said before, having never coached myself, do you find that sometimes it is contagious, that if you get started on the wrong foot, it just seems like
it really does. When I was coaching basketball, you see one guy make a stupid mistake out of the basketball court, a dumb foul, and pretty soon everybody's doing it. It just, the momentum in basketball is much different than in football because it can change real quick, but
I know the coach defense is, let me interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Defense, Corey Hodge made the move to the outside and looked like he had plenty of running room, and all of a sudden he had no running room.
The Hampton did a good job of reacting and getting outside and stopping that play. He picked up just a yard on it, but it looked like to me he's going to pick up at least 5-6 yards on that run.
So the defense of Hampton responded extremely well, as it normally will. They just come up so quickly. It looked like he had running room, and then there wasn't any. He ended up gaining a yard. It's 3rd down and 9 for the Bruins. Pitch out. Corey Hodge tries to break it a little quicker this time, trying to get to the line of scrimmage a little faster to negate that pursuit speed that the Crabbers have.
Well, one thing also, if you notice, Tim, that Bethel gets up on the ball very quick, and they snap the ball on the very first count, and it looks like the Hampton Crabbers defense is still doing some adjustment back there, and of course they're beating them to the line, to the point of contact. Now we got a 4th down, and Bethel is definitely going to go for it because they've been successful moving the ball more than what Hampton has so far this afternoon.
4th down and 3 for the Bruins. A big play here in the 3rd quarter.
He's trying to pull a Hampton one. I know Mike Smith feels good. His men did not move, didn't budge or nothing, and they were trying to draw him offside because the 5-yard penalty would give him a 1st down.
Those fans who may not be familiar with this tactic, the Crabbers used with great success the 4th down and short yardage irregular cadence call. Last year they did this several times in the playoffs, not to mention the regular season. In fact, after a while, I think the regular season didn't work quite as well because the people who...
Well, they scout them all the time, and they see them play, Tim, so when you scout a team, you see these tendencies, but when you play teams from other divisions and other districts, they're not attuned to what the Crabbers do. Again, I want to take a chance to see if the people can see on the left of our screen, they can see the diamonds in the end zone. That was done by John Johnston. He came out here on his own time and decorated the end zones of the field for the last hurrah, so to speak, of the Darling Stadium as it is set up right now. And we want to surely mention John Johnson's name for doing that because it does make it look a lot better from up here anyway.
All right, Kelly, in fact, will be standing at midfield in deep punt formation. So the Bruins took a chance, hoping to catch Hampton off guard, but they didn't do so. And now on the 4th down, Kelly gets the ball to hang up, and boy, does it take a nice bounce for the Bethel Bruins, as Stefanko looked like he was going to let the ball go into the end zone, and it might normally have done so. But it took a bounce backwards. That's that backward spin that you golfers will be familiar with.
Yeah, I tell you.
Ground and bounce back away.
You look at the ball coming down, and if it hits on the point with a point leading, it's going to bounce and go in the end zone. I'm sure that's what Stefanko was hoping it would do, but it hit and was touched at the 9-yard line. So Hampton is... they're back at their own end of the field, and I know they're not comfortable being back there.
1st and 10 from their 9-yard line. Stefanko gets the call, slanting off the left side. And over there again for Bethel to make the stop, number 55 is Lonnie Jones, who's had his name called more often than not this afternoon for the Bethel defense.
Yeah, he's one of the linebackers. He does a good job of following the flow of the play, and he'll also be one of them that'll jump in between the center and the guard and try to get in the backfield and interrupt the flow in the backfield and the timing. So he's done a good job defensively for the Bruins today. And we got a mix-up on the field, and Hampton needs to call a timeout. And I know Mike Smith doesn't like that, but he's going to go out and talk to him, Tim.
So the Crabbers have yet to get on track. There are triple fours on the clock. 4:44 to go here in the 3rd quarter. The Hampton Crabbers trailing by the score of 3-0. On the initial kickoff, if you joined us late, the ball was fielded by Grady McLean, a big ball player for the Hampton Crabbers all season long, and he returned the ball about 10-15 yards on the kickoff, but then was hit hard and fumbled, and the Bethel Bruins took the ball on that turnover and were able to convert a 25-yard field goal by Troy Fullwood. And that score came at 8:27 of the first quarter, and with 4:44 to go in the third quarter, that has been all of the scoring. And again, the big story is the Hampton lack of offense or the Bethel defense. No first downs so far in the ball game for the Hampton Crabbers.
And Tim, wind seems to have picked up a little bit. It is blowing from our right to the left, going at the opposite end of what it normally does when we're out here. And of course, that means if Houston has to punt, he's got his back in his own end zone, assuming that Hampton doesn't pick up a first down here, and he'll be kicking into the wind. And Todd Kelly's been very fortunate on his kick, egging it out of bounds one time, and then get this one to go down and stop at the 9-yard line. So now we got a second down, and we'll see what happens with the Hampton offense.
Second down and 7. This is Summers. Summers tries to get outside. He gets up close to the 15. They've got to get across the 19, almost to the 20 to get the first down. You know, before you malign the Hampton offense, don't forget, they scored 4 touchdowns in a little more than 6 minutes against Warwick last week. So when you think you may have Hampton contained, don't get too confident because you just don't know what's going to happen. I've seen Stefanko break them for 40, 50, 60 yards.
Yeah, well, a couple of those were off of turnovers too, Tim, but they can be explosive, but they need to get something going.
Third down and about 5. Todd Summers gets the call, and the Bruins have got him bottled up.
Todd Kelly making the stop.
Todd Kelly in on the stop for the Bruins.
Well, Todd's done everything today. He's punted the ball. He has been in the backfield and thrown a halfback pass. He's been on defense. He's just done an excellent job for the Crabbers today. And Bethel ought to, for the Bruins today, they ought to come away with a real good field position.
Houston gets it away, gets a good kick. It's end over end. It's fielded at the 47-yard lines. Boogie Wooden's got it. He's got some running room. Look out. One man to beat. He's going to go. We got a flag down, however.
There's a flag back at about the 34-yard line, Tim, which is probably a clip against the Bethel team. And that will negate a tremendous run by Boogie Wooden.
No, the call is holding against the Crabbers. That is the initial indication. The referee indicated holding against the Crabbers. If that's the case, it'll be a touchdown. Let's hold it right here. It's a touchdown.
It sure is. I would have sure thought that was a clipping penalty, because that's what you would look for on a run back like that.
So the Crabbers are stunned by Boogie Wooden, who fielded the ball, never even took a step. He was standing right where he stood when the ball was kicked. He took it at the 48-yard line of Hampton and went all the way down to the score of the touchdown. So the Bruins now leading by the score of 9-0. Boogie Wooden, the man they try and kick the ball away from. We've seen this throughout the season. They're trying to keep it away. That's why they're trying to keep it away from him.
Every time Bethel plays, I don't care who they play, people just try to kick the ball away from Boogie, because when he gets the ball, he's very, very exciting, and you can see why, Tim. That was like about a 44, 45-yard touchdown run. I don't know exactly the yardage on it.
Well, they fielded it at the 48. A high snap from center. Fullwood gets the extra point up.
No good. It's wide. And we got a penalty on the play, Tim. I see 2 flags down. They ran into Fullwood, and of course you can't run into him unless you hit the ball.
Well, we'll wait and see what the call is, but there are flags down, so Bethel may in fact get a second chance. Roughing the kicker, the call against the Crabbers. Personal foul also assessed. So now, although the point of the line of the extra point try is the 3-yard line, they could in fact move it to the 1.5 and then try for 2 if they wanted to.
Yeah, they get half the distance, so that's what they'll get on the penalty. But I'm sure what they're going to do is just going to kick that field goal again, which will give them a 10-point bulge. And the way Hampton has played offensively today. That's a big stone. We got what, just under 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. So the Crabbers really have their work cut out for them, Tim.
So Fullwood will get a second try. 9-0 in favor of Bethel. Fullwood trying to make it 10. And this was blocked, so this extra point try, 2 tries, no extra point. And the Crabbers find themselves on the short end of a 9-0 score with 3:27 to go. So
well, now we have a situation where the Crabbers could score twice, a touchdown and a field goal, and end up winning it. So that kind of gives them a green light, but they're going to have to get something going offensively. And I know the Crabbers need to get a little breathing room because the last 2 possessions they've had, one was at the 9-yard line, one was like at the 18 or so. So they need to get that ball out so they got a little bit of running room and let that offensive line pick up the defensive blitzers from Bruins and at least get their initial first down, Tim.
The Bruin defense has been superb all day. The question is, can they continue to be as strong as they have? Can they contain Stefanko as well as they have? Stefanko averages more than 115 yards per ball game. I don't have his personal stats, but I'd have to say with Hampton's total offense at halftime being 47 yards, he certainly hasn't got very many of those. So the Crabbers will have it cut out for them. They need to get untracked here. They are going to the playoffs, but they don't want to end up on the short end of a score in this game. Fullwood kicks a squibber, and it's mishandled by Stefanko at the 7-yard line. Now he gets it, and he falls forward across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. So Stefanko had difficulty with the ball. In fact, Grady McLean was the first man that was closest to the ball. He was probably supposed to let Stefanko field it, Stefanko being the better ball returner.
Tim, it just doesn't seem like anything is going right for the Crabbers today.
Well, they've got to make things go right. From that, of course, is the sign of a good football team. You make your breaks, you make your game plan work, and the Crabbers haven't done so far, but don't count them out. We've got more than 3 minutes to go in the third and all of the fourth quarter. This is Stefanko, struggling for a couple of yards. Hampton has refused to open the game up. Of course, to this point, they've only trailed by 3, so they weren't in a necessity. The time is running short of them.
Well, I noticed that time they had 2 wide receivers out to the left side, so they're trying to spread that defense out a little bit for the Hampton Crabbers. The defense for the Bruins, their linebackers are just playing excellent today, especially Lonnie Jones, number 55. He's been all over the field for the Bruins today.
Eric Hunter is dumped in the backfield by guess who?
Lonnie Jones, and nobody picking him up. He's coming through virtually untouched. Now, I don't know if that's a call or just something he sees and figures he can do it, but that's really hurting him.
Well, Mike Smith and his staff are truly being tested. They've got to come up with a remedy for this Bethel defense. Lonnie Jones, who has been in on a number of plays today, just sacked Eric Hunter. It's 3rd down and 12 for the Crabbers. 2 wide receivers to the top of your screen. Handoff goes to Stefanko. Stefanko picks up some running room, gets out close to a first down. But it looks like real close.
It'll depend on where they spot that, Eagle Eye, but that looks very close to a first down. What do you think?
I think they're going to measure.
You're not going out on a limb, Tim?
This was too close to call, as they say. Well, let's see. All right, I won't hedge on this, but I'll say he made it by about an inch.
All right, let me take a look at that. Oh, Tim, you missed it. It's good 4 inches.
All right, so get this. Mark this on your scorecard. 1:46 to go in the third quarter, and the Crabbers get their initial first down of the ballgame.
And they went to the man who has been the workhorse all day long, and that's number 44, Mike Stefanko. And he did a good job, extra effort after he was hit to pick up that first down.
The Bruins are blitzing. The ball is loose. It's going to belong to whom? Bruins say it's their ball. The officials say it belongs to Hampton. So that's a tough call. Looked like the Bruins had it just as much as the Crabbers did on that play.
Yeah, well, Melendez Bird, number 81, had that ball, and he thought for sure it was his. But again, Lonnie Jones was in the backfield. He had his hands on Hunter as he was handing the ball off, and that's why it was fumbled. Nobody is picking up that linebacker.
Loss of a yard, but more importantly, the Crabbers keep possession. And again, Hunter is dumped before the ball is in fact snapped. Now, I still don't see the first flag. What's the call?
And they call it against the Crabbers.
The Bruins are jumping across that line. They're timing their jump. And now they say a penalty against the Crabbers for illegal procedure. So the Bruin defense certainly has the Crabbers rattled at this point. Official comes over to the near sidelines to explain to Mike Smith something about that call. I'm sure Mike Smith had some question about whether or not the Bruins were offsides.
Well, you cannot, as a defender in high school, get into the neutral zone, and that's where the ball is. You cannot cross that into that area before the ball is snapped. If you do, it's a 5-yard penalty. And I tell you, the Hampton is really having trouble with the linebackers because they're doing it. They're getting there.
Todd Summers, ball comes all the way across the 25 to the 27.
But I'll tell you, Tim, something else will happen one of these times, and I've seen this happen before, is when a linebacker shoots like that, and they pop a real quick one right where he should have been, and you pick up a long running play. And hopefully, I know that's what Hampton is hoping is going to happen, but somebody's got to pick up that linebacker as he blitzes through.
I doubt if they'll get this play off because apparently there's only but 1 second. Now there's no time remaining, so there will not be another play in the third quarter. You know, that's what I was going to say, Bob. It seems to me that the way to remedy this would be to go with that quick look-in pass. We've got A.G. Womble down on the sidelines, and he has someone he's going to be talking with here. We'll wait and see until A.G. gets all set. He's got to get his camera crew down there with him. But as I said, I think the remedy to that stunting situation with the linebackers is that quick look-in pass.
Well, that's true, except if that guy is coming right at you from that side that you're throwing the ball. So you got to pick him up, maybe catch the one on the left side or something.
All right, let's go down to the sidelines now and A.G. Womble.
All right, Tim, Bob, we got Lee Moore, the With Fire and Rescue Squad. Lee, first of all, you guys do a great job. And how long have you been doing this for the With company?
Thank you. I've been there 15 years now, and we don't miss many of these games. We try to go all over.
Lee, I know you're a big supporter of the Crabbers. They're down now 9-0. What's it going to take to turn this game around here for the Crabbers?
10-9. No question. I'll show you how we're going to get there.
Okay. Lee, I see you at all the playoff games, too. The company, I think, follows the team all the way, do they not?
We do. You write us a letter and ask us to cover it, and we try to accommodate it. So it's a great thing to watch these boys grow like this and then watch them through college. I think it's great.
Well, Lee, we really appreciate the support of the With Fire Company, and we hope to see you the rest of the season in this playoff. Hope we go all the way.
Thank you. We're going.
Okay, good job. Okay, Tim, Bob, now back to you.
All right, thank you, A.G. Lee Moore, man I'm familiar with. Got a neat little handlebar mustache there, Mr. Moore.
He did that. Our roving reporter, A.G., is doing a good job out there today.
All right, we got 12 minutes of football left for the Bethel Bruins. And they'd like nothing better than to end this season with a victory. Eric Hunter is sacked in the backfield.
And I'll tell you why he was sacked back there, Tim, is because nobody was open. He had two receivers out, number 22 and number 1, Hyman and McLean were out, and they were covered by the secondary of Bethel, and that's why he didn't have anybody to throw the ball to.
Marcus Washington, number 80 for the Bruins, gets credit for the sack. Houston will be standing back inside his 10. Little or no rush. He gets it away. It's a good end-over-end kick. It's taken by Boogie Wooden at the 42. Wooden's got running room again. He won't have the same result this time, but he will give Bethel good field position at the Crabber 37-yard line.
Down to the Crabber 38-yard line.
So the Crabbers now looking at a 9-0 deficit, and the Bruins in their own side of the field. So the Crabbers have got to come up big defensively, and they've got to turn this game around if they hope to extend their 15-game win streak and keep intact their 13th ranking in the nation.
Well, this would knock them out of the ranking in the nation for sure, but this has always been a tremendous ball game when both of these teams meet.
This afternoon has been no exception. Johnson with a long count. Throws it back to Corey Hodge. Hodge gets through the initial defense of the Crabbers and picks up almost 10 yards.
Well, number 32 was hanging on to him, Andre Davis, who was trying to tackle him, but I think what Andre was more concerned about was trying to strip the ball from him, and that's why he picked up enough yards for the first down.
Bruins, in fact, did get a first down, pickup of 11 yards for Corey Hodge, who's done a superb job in the afternoon handling the football for the Bruins. He is in the backfield with 43 for Bruin, Billy Allen, and the ball comes loose. And they say the Bruins recover. So not only does the ball end up in their hands, but it goes forward. So when things are going right for you, they go right for you all the time. Bruins fumble a ball, but in fact ended up getting 2 extra yards.
Well, I'll tell you, Tim, it's funny how the ball bounces, but boy, when it starts going your way, and you see it in any athletic competition, with basketball, football, or whatever, but it seems like when a team's making free throws, everybody makes free throws. If you miss, everybody misses, and it just seems like the Crabbers just can't get their act together today for some reason.
10 minutes to go in the ball game. This is Corey Hodge, lots of running room. And he's got another first down. So the Bruins are on a roll. They are inside the Hampton 15-yard line, 1st and 10.
Well, Tim, they're also in very good position to get down here and either score via the touchdown or a field goal and just put additional pressure on the Crabbers.
You know, the Bruins did not have that many occasions when they really lost a game badly. They are 4-5 on the season, but they have been in most of their ball games. This looks like a scrum in rugby.
It looks like there's a flag on the play, Tim.
There was a flag thrown in the middle of that pack. The Bruins, you know, just to recap a little bit for them, they lost a couple of tough games.
Face mask penalty being called against the Hampton Crabbers.
They lost to a Kempsville team that'll face Hampton on the 20th in the playoffs, and they lost to that team 10-7 in overtime.
That was in overtime. It most certainly was, and they felt like they should have won that game.
Now they defeated Lafayette soundly. They got by Kecoughtan. Kecoughtan's in the playoffs. So Bethel has not played that poorly all season. They lost in overtime to Patrick Henry of Roanoke. And then against Phoebus, a game we did, Phoebus got on the board 35-0 before Bethel got untracked. But as I said, other than a game or two, the Bruins have been in all of their games. Now the ball has been marked at the 4-yard line. They're going to mark it for a measurement. And I won't hazard a guess at this point.
I won't either, Tim. It looks like it's short. That's your inch.
So there's the inch I was over a little while ago. But it doesn't really make a lot of concern to the Bruins because they're 1st and goal or just shy of a 1st and goal at the 4. If the Crabbers have any chance of winning this ball game, they have to keep Bethel out of the end zone at this point. Kent Johnson, the quarterback. Handoff, Billy Allen down inside the 2.
Billy Allen, the
1st and goal for the Bruins.
Steve Mason making the stop for the Crabbers. Ball being spotted down at about the Crabber 2-yard line.
So they've marked it at the Hampton 2-yard line. 9:23. The clock is moving. The Crabbers find themselves trailing 9-0. The Hampton side of the field absolutely dead silent. This is Allen again. He's in for the score.
That means the Crabbers are going to have to score 3 times, Tim, and they got to do it in less than 9 minutes and 15 seconds.
So Billy Allen converts on a 2-yard touchdown. It is now 15-0 in favor of Bethel, and you're looking at what might be the biggest upset in many a year around this part of the country.
Well, Hampton does a lot of shutting out of other teams, and I don't know the last time the Crabbers have been shut out.
Well, we know they came into this game having won their last 15 games, so it's been a while. Fullwood gets the extra point try in the air, and he gets it good. So now
the Crabbers find themselves trailing 16-0. You have to wonder, Bob, I looked at the Daily Press this morning. They were talking about the playoffs. They said the Crabbers 10-0 facing Kempsville.
That's what it said in the paper, 10-0.
A little predestination there. They might have been a little bit early on that call.
I believe they might be, because it's going to be a superhuman effort for the Hampton red and white to come out and score 3 times against the Bruins, because not only you got to stop the Bruins, but then you also have to...
and now we got a flag down. Kozlowski is absolutely livid on the far side.
He's over there trying to call timeout. I see the flag on there. I don't exactly know what it was. It may be one of those illegal conferences that happened to the Bruins one other time when we were here, and they threw a flag on the sideline, and we didn't know what it was. It's what they call an illegal conference, and if that's the truth, then it's a 15-yarder, and that means they'll have to move the ball back 15 yards to kick it, which will give the Crabbers excellent field position on this kickoff, you would think.
So they're having a discussion at the center of the field there, the officials, the referee, the back judge, and the flag has been thrown.
Oh, now they're saying no flag.
An inadvertent flag?
Inadvertent flag.
So the timeout. So Kozlowski wanted a timeout, and the official over there ruled a flag should be thrown as a penalty, but now after discussion, there is no penalty. I had a chance to talk with Coach Kozlowski last year after the Hampton-Bethel game, a couple of weeks after the game when he had a chance to cool down. He hadn't cooled down. He was still livid about some of the calls that occurred in last year's game, and he wanted the officials to know on no uncertain terms that he was upset with the way the game went. Now, he didn't go so far as to publicly make these statements or in any way berate an official. Don't make me, don't misunderstand me at that point. But he did not like the officiating in last year's game, and now Mike Smith is coming out, and he'd like to know what this discussion's about. I don't know whether Coach Kozlowski is airing out his feelings from last year. While you're on top by 16-0, I guess you can do whatever you want to do.
I guess so. I know Koz is out there talking to Dave Boney, who is the referee, the one that's in the white hat. And in the white hat is supposed to be the good guy, right? I wish I could read lips, because I had a perfect view of what saw Koz talking, but I can't read lips, Tim.
It's probably just as well you can. It's funny, we also had a chance to talk to him after that game that we had done between Phoebus and Bethel, and he was so hoarse he could hardly even breathe, let alone talk. He gets so wrapped up in these ball games that he loses his voice for week to week. What a bad case of laryngitis sounds like, that's what he sounded like.
Well, as you can see Mike Smith on the camera, he is extorting his team to come out and do something, because he's ready. He wants this team to do a good job. But he's got that ball set up sort of at an angle down there. I don't know if the camera can zoom in on the ball, but it's not set up like it's normally set up, Tim, and it'll be like what they call a squib kick, which was very hard to handle. That's what happened last time, and that put Hampton back at very close to their own end zone, and you can see what it looks like.
All right, Summers has it at the 30. Trying to break up the middle, gets to the 40.
And that's one of the very best field positions that the Crabbers have had today following a kickoff or a punt.
So they have 9 minutes and 4 seconds to turn this game around, the Crabbers do. They have not been able to solve the Bethel defense all afternoon. Eric Hunter, who's had a good season, has an excellent season for the Crabbers. He is a junior, and they're looking for great things from him.
Oh, they most certainly are, and he's got a good arm, so I look for him to put the ball there. They're going to have to do something.
Stefanko gets the call, 2 yards, cloud of dust, 2nd down and 8. So the Bethel defense comes up big again. And you have to somewhat wonder what it's going to take for the Crabbers to get going.
Well, they're going to have to put the ball in the air, Tim. They're not going to be able to grind it out, because you're talking 16 points and you've got less than 9.5 minutes, check that, less than 8.5 minutes to go. And Hampton Bethel's up there real tight, and their linebackers are...
The ball is tipped, and it's intercepted.
The ball starts, Tim, it's unbelievable, but that ball bounces around, and it's bouncing right in Bethel's favor. It has all day.
Mario Grimes, number 24, was the man in the right place at the right time. The intended receiver for the Crabbers, Corey Cofield,
had gone down. The ball wasn't thrown that poorly. It tipped off of his fingers, went up in the air, and Mario Grimes comes down with it for the Bruins. So 8 minutes, the clock moving, and the Bruins have it at their 45-yard line.
And if Bethel can maintain this ball and get a couple first downs, they're just going to really just shut out the Crabbers.
Corey Hodge picks up 4. But just as importantly, the clock continues to move inside of 8 minutes. Mike Smith and his coaching staff on the sidelines can do no more at this point than exhort their defense to come up with a big play, and they've got to get the ball back in order to have a chance. The Hampton faithful have had little or nothing to cheer about this afternoon. A big crowd on hand for this annual game. This is Hodge again, and he picks up about 4 more. So the Bruins now content to run the ball, get 4 or 5 yards each time you carry it, and wind that clock down. A little more than 7 minutes to go.
And the Bethel team is not real anxious to get back in the huddle. They're taking their time, getting up off the ground. And of course, the clock isn't start counting down for the play, the 30 seconds until all the people are moving back towards the huddle.
3rd down and 2. Hodge, 3rd time in a row he gets the call, and he gets the first down. So the Bruins accomplish exactly what they want to do. They run the clock, they run 3 plays, they get 11 yards and a new first down.
Well, the Crabbers definitely have, you can see the clock, Tim, 6:38 and counting. They're against 2 opponents now. They're against the Bethel Bruins, and they're against the clock. But they can't do anything unless they can get the ball.
Ken Johnson again, Hodge, this time 2 yards, and he's tripped up by Todd Summers. You know, before we sound the death knell for the Hampton Crabbers, let's remember they've got the playoffs locked up. You have to wonder, in spite of the enormity of this game as far as personal rivalries are concerned, you have to wonder how much is taken off of you once you know you've got the playoffs, once you know you're there. You've got this week, you got next week to take it easy because you have no game. So you have to wonder how much of a factor that had for the Crabbers. They had to lose some of their intensity.
I know there's another flag on it, but you got to make a good point that time. It may be that they just lost some of their intensity. And I had talked to Coach Smith. That's a holding penalty called against the Bruins. But I talked to Coach Smith earlier in the week, and he said one day, I think it was like Wednesday or something, they just had a real bad practice. Things weren't going good. And again, it's hard to keep the intensity up of the young men all week long, and now we're going to have a layoff. But Hampton Crabbers are in the playoffs, and they will represent the Peninsula District very well, Tim.
I'm sure they will, and I don't think that you will see this type of play from the Crabbers. And again, I'm not maligning the Crabbers as much as I am giving credit to the Bethel defense. The Bethel defense has been in the backfield of the Hampton team all afternoon, and their offense has done enough to win. So that's, Boogie Wooden's return, 47-yard return on that punt had to be a backbreaker for the Crabbers. They had played tough all game long, and that one just kind of took the steam out of them. And then, of course, the 2-yard run by Allen to make it 16-0 has really hurt the Crabber cause. Downfield, the pass goes incomplete. And as I said before, I think when you see the Crabbers play against Kempsville at Todd Stadium on November the 20th, which I hope many of you listening and watching this ball game will please try and attend. I know the Crabbers will be happy to have your support. I think you'll see a different type of intensity on the part of the Crabbers. I think they'll be up for that game. Not that they weren't up for this game, but you'll see a whole lot different thing, because then you're playing for all the marbles.
Well, you both certainly are. Hampton has given up very few points all year long. To give up 16 in one ball game is unheard of. And we got into like a shotgun formation there, and it's a quick kick.
Quick kick on 3rd down and long. So the ball now is going to be spotted at the Hampton 23-yard line. So 5 minutes and some change remains in the ball game, and the Crabbers trailing by 16. That's a good point. Crabbers only gave up 19 points through their first 9 games, and then they almost equaled that amount in the one game against the Bethel Bruins. But as I said, I think what happens is Bethel had nothing to lose and everything to gain, and they just wanted this game a whole lot more.
Well, it's definitely the defense for Bethel has just done an outstanding job of shutting down Hampton.
Stefanko, who is Mr. Offense for the Crabbers, has really had a tough afternoon, and the Bethel Bruins, by the number of 55, Lonnie Jones, there again, as Jones has almost been in the backfield on every play this afternoon for the Bruins.
Well, I don't want to second guess any of the coaches, Tim, but I know that to score, Hampton's going to have to put the ball in the air, and maybe Bethel is looking for that too. Well, that was not a good pass. The young man was open. It was just thrown over his head, but Hunter does a good job. He's an excellent quarterback for the Crabbers, and as you pointed out, he's just a junior.
In the half, I'm told by our statistician Rick Gabriel that the Crabbers have that one first down. The Bruins have 4 for a total of 8 on the ball game. And would you have believed that in a game that was 4.5 minutes to go in it, that the Crabbers would have 1 first down?
I would have taken the bet. I would have lost some money on that one.
3rd down and long. Hunter, harassed as he has been all game long, he simply has no time. And the Crabbers will be looking at 4th and long. And this game, for all intents and purposes, is wrapped up for the Bethel Bruins. So the happy Bethel crowd will be filing out of the stadium this afternoon. The Crabber fans, quiet today, but I'm sure they'll be heard from on the 20th against Kempsville.
Oh, they sure. Their season is not over. This is it for the Bruins, but this is not it for Hampton.
Houston gets a fine kickoff. Fielded by that same Boogie Wood. Look out! He's going to cut across the grain. He's going to be hit from behind, but not before he gets down to the Hampton 20-yard line.
The young man is exciting when he gets that ball. He got that ball about his own 40-yard line, Tim. He caught it. Looked like he caught it about his own 40 and took it down to the 20. That's a 40-yard return. In fact, he's back. I mean, if Hampton would have gone for it and not given it up, they'd have been in better position.
Boogie Wooden had a big afternoon. He's probably got more than 100 yards in returns. He had a 47-yard touchdown return earlier and a 40-yarder this time. So there's 87 right there. And the Bruins are back in business. 3:25, clock is moving. 1st and 10 at the Hampton 20-yard line. And too much time is going to be the call against the Bruins. Delay of the game.
Well, that was an intentional delay of the game, Tim. They just want to run that clock out. We got 3:20 to go, and as you can see, the officials stepping off the penalty right there on your screen. That all Hampton can do now is hope for a turnover or try to get the ball back. And you've said it. That this game is virtually over because there's no way. I don't believe that the Crabbers can score 16 points in this short a time.
Bethel has sacked Eric Hunter 3 times in his second half, so that's an indication of the kind of defense we've seen out of the Bruins this afternoon. Corey Hodge, who's been the main ball carrier, as you mentioned, 90% of the time you'll see Hodge carry the ball for the Bruins. Picks up 3 or 4. Again, a reminder that as you're watching this game, there will not be any games played this weekend. But the weekend of the 20th, the Crabbers host Kempsville at 8 o'clock at Todd Stadium, and Kickingham will travel to Norview to play Maury at 8 p.m. on the 20th as well. Behind a wall of blockers, we see Billy Allen, and now we've seen some contact after the whistle is blown.
Well, Tim, we need to get a chance here. We need to let the viewers know when this is being aired. It's going to be aired Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. and Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. So if you're watching this, let your friends know and tell them when they can watch it, because this is a tremendous ball game, especially if you're a Bethel fan.
And I am told tentatively, I don't want to say this for sure because AG hasn't come up and told me point blank, but I understand we'll be at Todd Stadium for that Hampton game with Kempsville on the 20th. And then hopefully we'll be, well, we got flags down, whistles blowing. There's going to be a stoppage of play. to continue, if I may, on the completion of the playoff schedule as we have it at this point. Friday and Saturday night, the 20th and 21st, but I remind all of you that are watching, try and come out and support your team, whether it be Hampton, Kecoughtan, or Phoebus. These three teams have done a great job this season. Kecoughtan ends the regular season 7-2. Hampton will be 9-1, and Phoebus finishes 8-2. And any one of these three teams could go on to be the state champion.
Well, we could have two state champions, Tim, because Phoebus could end up being state champion in Division 5, and Hampton or Kecoughtan could end up being the state champion in Division 6. And excuse me, Tim. Yeah, we can see the coaching staff there. We see Elvis Mann and Danny Mitchell and Mike Smith, and I don't see a smile on her face, and I can understand that feeling. I've been that way before when I was coaching, and it's kind of frustrating.
2 minutes to go in the ballgame. I remind you to please stay tuned. At the end of the game, we'll have some interviews. A.G. One will be down on the sidelines, so stay tuned for that. This time, Ken Johnson is forced up into the pocket and loses his footing. And one of the few times today that Mr. Johnson has not been able to do as he pleased.
It looks like we're going to do a field goal attempt, Tim, which is very unusual. This is a long field goal for Fullwood. He spotted the ball, looks like about the 35, so that'll be a 45-yarder, and he's got the wind blowing right straight in his face. There's no way he's going to get it in there. He just doesn't have that strong a foot, but it may be a fake too, Tim.
If they don't hurry, it'll be a 50-yard field goal because they're real close to using all of their time. And now they have, in fact, used all their time. The referee is going to charge a 5-yard delay of game penalty. So, just for the sport of it, I think they probably back it up 5 and try a 50-yarder. Dennis Kozlowski loves every minute of this. He wants this game to last another 2 or 3 hours.
I bet he does. I don't think he's going to attempt a field goal from the 40, Tim. There's no way. They're just going to go ahead and run the ball out. I do see Todd Kelly in there. I guess he is going to punt it. Didn't know if he'd punt it or not.
I look for Kelly to run with the ball. I'm not sure what he's going to do.
Pick up first down. Everything else has gone right for the Bruins today.
Well, he'll get it away quickly into the wind. The wind holds it up, so that's real well for the Bruins. They have a lot of people downfield. They got 5 or 6 players around the ball, and they're there in order to down the ball at the 10-yard line. So why should anything else go right for the Crabbers? Nothing has all day, and staying in tune with that theme with 1 minute and 3 seconds to go, the Crabbers will start from their 9-yard line. The score 16-0 in favor of the Bethel Bruins, and the Bruins are just about to end a 15-game win streak for the Crabbers and start a 1-game win streak for themselves.
Well, I tell you what, Tim, you can bet when we see the Hampton Crabbers play against Gimpfield, we're going to see a much different team.
This is Dwayne Murphy as he crosses the 15. Inside of 35 seconds now. The ball game is moments away from being over. The Bethel side of the field, jubilant to say the least. They'll end the season 5-5. But for their causes, it was a winning season as far as they're concerned.
If Bethel can beat Hampton, then Kozlowski has a successful season. I know that's the way he feels.
Hunter with 10 seconds to go, wants to throw long. He's got Hyman out here, and it'll be incomplete. Stopping the clock with just 5 seconds to go.
We got a flag clear back up here, Tim, at the looks like at about the 35-yard line. I know in that area you'd think it was a pass interference or something, but the ball wasn't thrown over there at all. So I don't know.
Actually, I'm told the problem is that the Bruins, although they've played like they had too many men on the field all day, in fact, this time are guilty of having too many men on the field. So the signal, as you can see, the Bethel players on the field, you can't see them on your screen, but the Bethel players are absolutely loving every minute of this. They are boogieing with Boogie Wooden out there. They are that. Lonnie Jones right in the middle of that celebration. They are beside themselves. They just can't believe how much fun they're having. Well, let's see. Eric Hunter undoubtedly air this one out.
Well, Bethel's got about 5 or 6 men deep. They're expecting to pass.
And this one is over the middle and a real hard hit put on the ball carrier, just kind of capping the game for the Bethel Bruins. Clock has run out as Aaron Monday, number 89, made the catch for the Crabbers, but it's academic as the Crabbers see themselves go down to defeat 16-0 at the hands of the Bethel Bruins.
Well, Mike Smith just walked across the field and shook Coach Kozlowski's hand, and you can see that the players are out there. Even though there's a lot of competition between the two, they are congratulating the winners. And you can take your hat off to the Hampton Crabbers. They're not done this year. They're continuing to play, and we'll see a different ball game. But I know the coaches, and you and I know the coaching staff of the Hampton Crabbers. And we're talking about Mike Smith and Danny Mitchell and Elvis Mann, Walter Brower, Steve Washington. They'll get these young men back on the right track and try to get that, I don't know if they got a bad omen or what happened, but somebody got something bad in their back pocket because every bounce today went towards Bethel.
Remind you that the final score, the Hampton Crabbers lose for the first time in 16 consecutive ball games. A 16-0 loss at the hand of arch rival Bethel High School, and this is going to be a tough loss for the Crabbers. But again, without being too redundant, the Crabbers go on to the playoffs. The Bruins go home and savor the victory. We've got AG down on the field, and he's trying to get some people to talk to. I think he's just about set. Let's see, he's got 400 yards of cable down there.
Excuse me for laughing, but he's been fighting that cable all afternoon, getting tangled in his feet and everything else, but he's done a good job of getting people to talk to him. Looks like he's got Coach Kozlowski.
He's got Dennis Kozlowski. Let's go down now to A.G. Womble.
All right, we got Coach Koz. Koz has to be a big win for you.
Well, I'm really proud for our seniors. I think they displayed today the type of team they're capable of being, and today we did come out. We played both offense and defense and just dominated the game, and I'm really happy for them. I think they deserve what they got today. They earned it.
Wooden had a big play.
Well, Boogie's been a force all year long in the league. People wouldn't kick to him early. Hampton has a good kicker, so they felt comfortable to punch him, and we felt we could use that to our advantage.
All right, Koz, you were up 3-0 at halftime. What'd you tell your players at halftime?
Well, we were going to continue to do what we had done. We just wanted to make a few changes offensively on our blocking schemes, and defensively just change a little bit, and it fortunately worked well.
Well, Koz, you're not going to the playoffs, but I'm sure this has to be a satisfying season for you on this game anyway.
Well, it's always good beating Hampton. Of course, we wish them all the best in the playoffs, and hope they bring another title back to the city.
Okay, good job, Koz. Congratulations. Thank you.
We'll just follow AG here as he'll be looking for some more people to interview, I guess.
Hey, Mike. Tough game.
He's got Mike Smith.
Coach Smith, I'm sure you're a little disappointed in the loss here today. Bethel seemed to be fired up, but we got the playoffs in a couple of weeks. Do you think this is going to help us in the playoffs?
Well, I don't think a loss ever helped.
We just got beat.
They just came out there and beat us today, and
okay.
What you say about that? They did a good job.
This ain't going to do anything to our home court advantage in the playoffs.
I don't know anything about it until tomorrow. They haven't made it until Sunday.
All right, Coach, great season so far. We're going to follow you all the playoffs and hopefully another state championship.
Okay, thank you, AJ.
All right, thank you. All right, we got Anthony Wooten. Anthony, has to be a big, exciting day for you.
Yes, sir. Very exciting.
All right, that big play there, that touchdown play, tell us a little bit about that.
We had a punt return on, and we usually punt return to the right, and went to the right, and the guys blocked, and we scored.
That seemed to be a key play in this second half.
Yeah, I think it was. It kind of boosted us up a little bit more, because, we went to halftime with a 3-0 lead, so we came out and just did the job. So.
Okay, I think this is the final game, of course, for you guys, but you have to be satisfied with this big win at the end of the season.
Very proud, very exciting game.
Great season, Boogie. Good game today.
Thank you.
Well, he's wandering around now, Tim, so
Let's see who else he can get. That's a good shot of Anthony Wood. Now, you look at that young man, and he's a senior, and he looks like he ought to be in about 8th or 9th grade. He's a very young-looking man, but I tell you what, he is a feared runner when he gets that ball on a kickoff or a punt, as we saw today. On 2 occasions, he moved that ball right down the field.
Early in the season, we saw Boogie Wooden as they avoided him, and I think they should have avoided him again today because, in fact, if you think about it, 3-0 was the score at the point he returned that ball 47 yards, and that was the backbreaker. Back to you, AG.
All right, we have Carla Williams now. Carla, you have to be excited about this big win.
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm so happy I just don't know what to do.
What did the cheerleaders do this weekend preparing for this big game?
Well, we had a pep rally on Friday and we had a dance routine which pumped our team up, and then we just cheered them on the victory today. All right,
good job.
Thank you.
Carla Williams.
I don't know, Tim, what's going to happen, but the band looks like he ought to interview the band. They act like they want to get interviewed. They've been right close to him all day, but he'll end up looking at the good-looking gals and getting those interviews in. I noticed that he always does that.
He's no fool. He had the Hampton cheerleaders at halftime, and as he said to us, as he wrapped up that interview, he says, tough job, but someone has to do it. Well, we've had a great job this afternoon in bringing this ball game to you. It's been our pleasure to bring 5 regular season games to you. We've been able to cover each of the Hampton City schools involved in their quest for the title. We now are down to 3 of those 4 teams have a chance to win the championship. On the 21st, Phoebus will visit Woodrow Wilson. The 21st at Western Branch High School will be there for both the Hampton game and the Phoebus game and bring them to you on a delayed basis.
Well, Tim, right there, they just showed a picture of, I had on camera Larry Malloy, who was responsible for keeping the field in as good a condition as it has been, and I know he's looking forward to having a new field and new turf and everything year after next. He's done an excellent job, him and his crew. We need to take this time to thank our crew that just do an excellent job each day. Tim, if you've got the names, we just want to run down.
You've got the names.
No, I gave it to you. All right, passing the buck, I tell you. They have Bev Thaxton Penn, she's one of our graphics, and Arlene Purcell. Scotty Bowers, our director. Always does a good job. Our producer, Dr. Sam Still. We enjoy having these young men to work with us. And Tim, take it away.
All right, and also our thanks to our statistician, Rick Gabriel, whose computer blew up just a moment ago as he was giving you the final stats, so I won't have those for you. But again, we thank all of the crew for their participation this afternoon. The Bethel Bruins victorious. The final score, Bethel High School 16, Hampton High School nothing. We thank you for watching, and good afternoon, everybody.